Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading to Afghanistan, and it's complicated, to say the least.
Definitely complicated.
So we've got excerpts from this article, pasted text, and get this. The Taliban is calling for international aid to rebuild. Rebuild after, decades of conflict.
Yeah, quite the ask.
It is. But what really caught my eye, and I think you'll find this interesting too, is that this plea is coming straight from a pretty high-up Taliban diplomat.
Right, not just anyone. This is Shir Mohammad Abbas Stanekzai, the Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs, no less.
Okay, so that's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. We're not talking about some low-level official here. This is a guy with serious history in the Taliban,
Yeah.
years of it, negotiations, you name it. He even served as their representative over in Qatar. So, yeah, when Stanekzai speaks, people listen.
So what's he actually saying? I mean, is he just holding out his hand saying, give us money?
Not quite. It's more nuanced than that. He's calling for specific things. Technical assistance, economic development programs, agricultural cooperation, stuff like that.
So a wish list, but like a detailed one.
Exactly. It's interesting because it goes beyond just, basic aid. It suggests a longer-term vision for the country. And he's making a pretty bold argument to back it up.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
He's saying that the countries that were involved in the 20-year conflict, the ones who, and I'm quoting here, bombed Afghanistan and conducted military missions, they have a moral responsibility to now help rebuild it.
Whoa. Okay, that's a strong statement.
It is, especially when you consider that, no country has actually officially recognized the Taliban government yet.
Yeah, that's right. They're kind of operating in this gray zone, aren't they?
Exactly. And that lack of recognition is a major hurdle for them. The international community, they're deeply concerned about the Taliban's governance, especially the whole situation with women's education.
You mean the ban on girls going to school beyond primary level?
Exactly. That's a huge sticking point. And, despite claims that it's temporary, nothing's changed.
Yeah, that's tough to square with a genuine call for rebuilding, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're serious about progress, shouldn't education for everyone be a top priority?
It should be. And, it's things like this that make people hesitant to engage. It raises questions about the Taliban's true intentions.
It almost seems like they're sending mixed messages. On the one hand, they want help developing infrastructure, stuff like telecommunications, transportation, things that need a lot of technical expertise, right?
Right.
But then they restrict access to education, which is, it's fundamental to any kind of long-term development.
Exactly. It's a contradiction. And it gets even more complex when you look at how Stanekzai is framing this whole rebuilding effort.
How so?
He's calling it a new form of jihad, a struggle for progress and prosperity.
Hold on. Jihad. That word, it's usually associated with armed struggle, isn't it? Not exactly economic development.
Right, and that's what makes this so interesting. He's trying to redefine a term that has a long and often controversial history.
So what do you make of that? Is it just a PR stunt, or is there something more to it?
It's hard to say for sure. Is it a genuine attempt to rebrand the Taliban, to present a more, shall we say, moderate face to the world? Or is it a calculated move to try and get support from those who, might be on the fence? It's a question worth pondering, that's for sure.
It makes you think, right? If they were truly committed to this new vision of jihad, shouldn't we see actions that match the words? Like, lifting the ban on girls' education? That's not exactly prosperity, is it?
You're hitting on a key point there. Actions do speak louder than words, and the whole world is watching to see what happens next. The potential implications here are huge. A Taliban-led rebuilding effort, it could bring stability to the region, or it could create new tensions. It could affect the fight against terrorism. And of course, there's the whole question of human rights within Afghanistan itself.
So many questions, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface here. It's like a tangled web, isn't it? All these internal contradictions, and then this shifting definition of jihad right at the center.
It is tangled, but that's why it's so important to try and understand it. What happens in Afghanistan has ripple effects. If the Taliban succeeds in rebuilding, what does that mean for the region, for global politics? What does it say about the future of the Taliban's ideology?
Big questions.
Big questions indeed. And they're not easy to answer. Is this a real shift in their approach? Or is it a new strategy to achieve old goals? That's something for everyone listening to think about.
Food for thought, for sure. Thanks for breaking it down for us.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these complex issues.
And to everyone listening, Keep those questions in mind as we continue to follow this story. It's far from over. Until next time.